thing.
This law really is leaning towards outlawing public space as the space that belongs to the public. The city is the foundation of Buddhist practice, and though most modern Buddhists sit in private, that's because they have private space. It could soon be, if this law passes, illegal to sit in public from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. for any reason whatsoever. So these activities are what ancient philosophers did in their public spaces in Athens. They're what a lot of us do now as part of our everyday lives, whether we're rich or poor, housed or not. I was in Rome for several days last fall, and part of what makes it one of the great cities is that people truly live in their cities, in their parks, in their streets, on their sidewalks, in all their public spaces. They fully inhabit with confidence and pleasure the city as home. In the Middle Ages, serfs left the country to experience the freedom of the city, the place where they could be free, and a lot of us have come to San Francisco for that reason, whether it's to pursue a path of enlightenment, to be in a place that's not so homophobic, to learn something, to do something, to connect to people. And this is a law that really would destroy the city as we know it, destroy what cities are all about. Cities where people live with joy and confidence in public have less crime, more quality of life, more culture, more civil society engagement, more democracy. It's what makes a city a great city. San Francisco has been a great city, but whether it remains one remains to be seen. It's really interesting that the young woman who just spoke pointed out that what they want to do for people who occupy our public space on the second offense is send them to jail. It's like if you don't have a home to go to, or if you're not already locking yourself up in your private space, we're going to lock you up in private space. So, but all of us need to live in public and in private. Everybody deserves a home. Everybody needs public space to exercise their lives as citizens. The measure Mayor Newsom and his allies are proposing would take away the only space in which the homeless exist and take it away from the rest of us too. This would kill us as a city. The mayor's already killed Halloween in the Castro. So, I've lived near Haight Street, the epicenter of the battle, for 29 years, and I've seen the scruffy groups of kids on the sidewalk pretty much all those years. Some of them have imperfect manners and peculiar outfits, but in all those years of walking alone by day and by night, multiple times per week, I've never been menaced, threatened, or harmed by any of them, and I stand by their right to exist. Actually, you know, if you want to talk about what really drives me, you know, BMWs and Lexuses and things like that have posed a lot of life-threatening risks to me. Homeless people never. So, the right of the people peaceably to assemble is the least recognized and maybe the most important part of the Bill of Rights in the First Amendment. It's a right we're exercising right now, right here, all of us, and it's one of the first rights dictatorships go after. During the military dictatorship in Argentina, even tango dancing faded because people were forbidden to assemble in groups. A lot of Soviet countries banned such assembly, and Burma did after the monks' uprising a few years ago. The supporters of our country's apartheid policy turned fire hoses on civil rights activists just for being in public in the segregated South, being in public and insisting on their right to exist and to have full citizenship. Other civil rights demonstrations took the form of sit-ins at lunch counters, but a lot of sit-ins since then have been in public. Criminalizing individuals for simply being in public, particularly those who are sitting, which is a pretty non-threatening pose, would erode democracy, freedom, and urbanism.
No sit lie on sidewalks for people. No sit lie on sidewalks for people. No sit lie on.
The summer of love was over in San Francisco. Had fallen out of love with hippies. So that was supposedly the idea behind it. But guess who it was used against?
Gay people!
Gay men in the Castro! Wow, what a shock in the 1970s. And guess who came out against Sit Lie? Oh wow, the same person who has been praised from sea to shining sea since the movie came out, since he went Hollywood with Sean Penn. But they didn't note that in 1974, 14 gay men were arrested in the Castro one night outside of a gay bar for sitting under the Sit Lie law, and one of them had the shit beaten out of him by a cop. Why wasn't that in the movie? Guess why? Because here we are again, fighting the same battle against the same old repressive law. And by the way, guess who struck down that law in 1979? It was the ACLU, joined by LGBT groups. That's who brought down Sit Lie. We brought down Sit Lie. It was a bad idea It's a bad idea now. It was homophobic then, and it's still homophobic. Because you know what? If you were at City Hall on Thursday, there was a hearing on LGBT folks and the shelter system. And we had about 35 homeless queers testifying. And you know what they said over and over again? They will not go to shelters because they're not safe. So where are they going to be? On the streets. And guess what's going to happen if they're sitting or lying on the streets?
They're going to be arrested.
They're going to get hassled by the friggin' cops because the merchants are going to call the cops on them. And then you know what? And I've had people say to me, yes, but they won't be enforced. They'll be thrown out of court and blah, 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 blah. But you know what? If you get cited under sit-lie and you don't do anything about it and it goes to a warrant, and then you go to try to get housing, and I work in housing, and you try to get housing and you got a warrant, guess what happens?
No housing.
You're not going to get housing with a warrant on your record. And that's what happens with these laws. They say that they're not going to hurt people and they're going to help people, blah, 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 but they do hurt people. And this law will hurt queers. And that's one reason, not the only reason, but that's one reason why the queer community needs to stand up against this.
Right.
And finally, let us not forget that this is a wedge issue. It's an election year. We have 3 seats up, 6, 8, and 9, which we hope are going to be progressive seats. This is a wedge issue, just like Karen Cash was. Remember that?
Hi, my name is Anak Sewell, and tonight I'm going to have to be homeless because I've been staying with Orlan, and I am not able to stay there for the next couple of nights because his reservations are up.
And here we are, walking over the ridge, Castro.
Hi, this is Anak Sewell, and this is where we came to, high above the city of San Francisco.
Alright, well it's gotten really cold out here.
It got real cold. It's like 1:15 in the morning now. I'm really tired and beat. My feet hurt, my legs hurt.
Ah, I can see our monitor.
And I've got 4 nights to do this.